We've done well at Indy for sure the last 2 years. Like the Indy 500 itself has been one of my best events. Thankfully, that's the biggest event, so that helps. But our team in general, we've really struggled at a lot of other places, and we're just behind. Like there's no one is happy about it, and like I don't think we should be happy about it. But when we show up to Indy, we have had great cars, and so if we can be competitive, we led the race last year. We led the most laps the year before, so we've had 2 races. 2021, I really thought we had the car to win the race, but we had hit some debris and got caught in someone else's accident. But like last year, we had a car again leading the race, finished 6th, so we're like right there. And we pitted from second for the last pit stop, but we had just 1 second too long of a pit stop. Like that's it. And then you put yourself from second to 7th, and then try to make your way back up for one restart. So it's very, very small things. Yeah. But we finished 5th at the Indy GP last year, which is the road course race that's before the Indy 500. So we've done quite well at Indy. The last couple of years, and we feel very confident at that track. So there's a few other places that we need to be a little bit better at, but it has been going well at Indy, which is nice.
There's just hardly any room for error. Right?
You have to be perfect. Yeah. Everything has to be perfect, and you have to get lucky too. Like winning the Indy 500 is about being perfect and also a bit of luck.
Yeah, man. So through all of these years of experience, what have been some of the trials and tribulations you've been through? I mean, because 20 to 30, that's a big age of just ups and downs, no matter what you're doing, right? So, for you, how's that affected you? Because I'm sure for you, you win and then you could lose, right? It's up and down and up and down. How has that affected your mindset?
Well, I mean, there are way more bad days than there are good days in racing. So, that's the toughest point is to be, mentally strong through all that, to have the confidence in yourself, because again, there's also so many outside elements that can affect your performance, that can affect what happens. You look at a results sheet, that's not at all what tells the story. There could be 400 things that could happen to you. You're like, well, Conor's finished 17th. He must suck. It's like, well, actually, this broke down. That happened. We had this. And you're like, well, okay. But there's a lot of that that goes on. So it's very hard to explain to people sometimes, because there are a lot of folks that, well, it's easy to look at a result sheet. That's very simple for anyone to do. And honestly, if you're playing basketball and you don't have the best players, well, you're probably not going to win the NBA championship. But if those players improve, you could literally see that, and there are statistics. And let's say you're the best player on the worst team. Well, the good teams are probably going to want you. You know what I mean? So there's that easily translates. Whereas racing, you could have the best driver in one of the underfunded teams, a little bit lower, and they might not be winning races, but they might do a few things that are like, well, man, that guy might be a guy. He might be the guy that we need. And I think a perfect example is a driver who's driving in our series right now named Kyle Kirkwood. Kyle Kirkwood is a 24 young guy, young American. He's done very well coming up through this series. Last year, his first year in IndyCar, was his rookie year. He drove for AJ Foyt Racing, which I drove for them as well.
Cool.
They are known as probably not the best team. They are one of the – they've struggled. Great guys, though. I actually really like the guys there at that team. And he was nowhere in the championship last year. He was quick at times, but he had already had a deal with Andretti Autosport for this season. And, Kyle went from finishing, I don't know, we were probably 20th in the championship or something last year, and he has already qualified on pole, and he's already won a race, and we're 3 races into the season now with Andretti. So
awesome.
Kyle didn't just all of a sudden remember how to drive, but now he's just with one of the best operations in the field. So things like that can happen, and that's what makes it hard. So I've had probably the most tumultuous career of anyone in IndyCar that I could think of in the last 10 years.
Great
it's
word
just
there, by the way.
Very strange. Yeah, it's multiple different. I've driven for almost every single team on the grid. I've been a substitute more often than I'd like to have been. But it's just been a very difficult grind. But those good days, long story short, are worth it.
Yeah. So it really is more of a team sport than
huge
people
team
think.
sport. Yeah. I mean, I would say if you're looking at IndyCar and you're like, hey, this is cool, like it's all related to one guy. Well, it's like, no, there's a lot. A lot of people have to be, part of the program. But it's a great team environment too. It's a lot of people have become longtime friends of mine from being on my team, working with me. Those are your guys. Those are your warriors that you're fighting with every weekend.